Hi everybody, I'm Jain Karamcheti, the author of this. We'll be discussing on the solar inverters. And the solar inverter is one of the most important power electronic device that makes the modern PV system wide usable. It makes the DC power from the modules to convert them into AC usable for all applications in our houses. Although these appliances might internally either work on the DC or all of them use on the AC grid, you can see in this one, we have given an example of a residential application for this. They're all working right now on the AC grid. Now, to know what an inverter is, we must first understand its precise function in the PV. The output of PV module is a direct current. What is meant by that? DC or direct current is a unidirectional flow of electric charge. DC is produced by the power sources like batteries, laptop chargers, and solar cells. It is a common to talk quantities like a DC voltage, DC power, and the DC current. The symbol for the DC power is shown it here with a red line on that. AC alternating current, on the other hand, is the flow of electric charge such that it constantly reverses direction. The usual form of an AC power is a sine wave. The symbol for an AC signal is this. So why do we need AC power? After a brief war of currents in the 19th century, AC power was chosen as the standard for the central power generation, transmission, and distribution. Until this day, almost all national electrical grids are on AC based. Most households have what is known as the AC sockets from which they tap the AC for their appliances. Consequently, most households' electrical appliances expect to feed AC power even though sometimes the internal circuitry of the appliances might use the DC. Nevertheless, the fact remains that solar power produced need to be converted into AC form. The fact remains that and as an AC form, so that it is a more usable in the electricity framework we have to do. How do we make this conversion from DC solar power to the easily usable AC power? You can see in this particular block diagram, we have the solar photovoltaic cells on the left side, modules on the left side, and goes through a DC switch to the DC one. And we are providing a protection against the over voltages. Then it goes to the inverter input side, which is the DC supply has to be given. And the other side, AC supply has to be given. So there is an AC switch disconnector on the other side and a protection against over voltage. Then it goes to the energy meter and main protection, and then goes to the transformer. By using an AC, and the inverter converts a DC electric power into the AC. Sometimes called the grid-tied inverter. In this case, PV system is a grid integrated. This means that the load can be supplied either by the PV system or the grid depending on the available irradiance and demand. The inverter latches onto the grid's frequency and voltage so that the inverter supplies AC power to the grid, acts as a current source, while the role of a constant voltage source in the system is filled by the grid. The grid connected system topology can only be adopted when there is a grid availability in that locality. In some places, there is no grid availability. Here we have to apply a standalone system. Take a look at the following diagram. We have a solar photovoltaic, we have a controller here, and a controller input output is going to the DC input side of the inverter, and the inverter output side is the voltage and the current we are getting it. Then it is going to the AC. So the inverter basically is acting as a AC voltage and the current sources. So the inverter that supplies the AC power to the load has to appear as a voltage source with a stable voltage and frequency supplying power at around 230 volts AC. It can be any other supply. It can be a three-phase of 415 volts and step up with a transformer, and then it can go to 33 kV. So basically, this one you are noticing it AC panel, PV panel and arrays are available here. So many odd number is about 64. They are all going to a combining boxes where they get combined and into a two lines only or whatever depending on the MPPT goes to the inverter. From the inverter, the output is going to the DC switch system and then to the grid. This is going out. In an off-grid system, excess energy has to be stored in order for the system to still be able to operate even at night time when there is no power generation. That is what is shown in this diagram. The excess power goes to the battery provided here itself, because when the load is not there, it goes to that. Now, we already know the basic application of an inverter in the power system, conversion from DC to AC. Can the inverter perform any additional functions? The answer is yes, thanks to the advances in power electronics. It is common to have an inverter that implement a maximum power point tracking MPPT mechanism before inverting, thus ensuring that PV modules or arrays are operating at their maximum power point in that. So you can see this block diagram DC to DC converter plus MPPT. This is the solar panel are giving an output of 36 volts that is going to a DC. It changes from 36 volts level to 400 volts level here, and there is an MPPT connections are also there in this. This particular chip takes a signal depending on the insulation value available here, and this is the DC to inverter, DC to AC inverter. It gives a pulse width modulated signals here to convert that into AC. So the DC to DC MPPT are giving the maximum input power to the DC inverter, and then it goes to the output filter. Then it is a 230 volts. Afterwards, either we can use it as a 230 or we can step it up by using a transformers. Apart from the modes of operation, inverters are also classified on the basis of implementation topology. In this diagram, we can see four different categories under this. The left side one, A is a central inverter, and the other one is the string inverter and multi-string inverter and modular inverter. You can see all the A, B, C in this one. The configuration of the solar modules connection changing this into central inverter, string inverter, multi or modular inverter. Now you can see the central inverter here, which are around several kilowatts to 100 megawatts. In this particular case, 100 kilowatts to this. And modular inverter, you see, that means each inverter has got only one single module connected directly. Both of them are connected together in such a way that the DC circuit is almost being eliminated, right? So we can see here a string inverter typically rated around 500 watts to 10 kilowatts. This is the string inverter. All the four are connected in series, these four, and then parallelly connected to the network there. Then we'll have a multi-string inverter. You can see here, so many inverters are connected in series, and there are three rows, string 1, string 2, string 3. The total system is called a multi-string. The other one is only a one string, so it is a string inverter. So the totally finally two terminals here, one a DC plus and minus is going to the inverter. This is called a multi-string inverter. Now you can see the central inverter again here. Let us start with the central inverter. This is the most traditional inverter topology used. As seen in the figure, this is a simple implementation with one central inverter catering to all PV modules in PV system. While this inverter topology increases the ease of the system design and implementation, it suffers from the several drawbacks. In large systems, large amounts of DC power will be transferred over cables to reach the central inverter. This increases the DC wiring costs and also decreases safety as DC fault currents are difficult to interrupt. Whereas in case of AC, the fault interruption is easy. An MPPT implementation in Trice central inverter will only cater to a system as a whole. If the various modules strings are mismatched, let us say due to the partial shading, the overall system output is drastically reduced in this particular case. Also, the system is usually designed for a fixed power. This has a little scope in extending of this if more strings or modules need to be added in future. Now here let us see. Let us look at the micro or module level inverters. As the name suggests, each module has a dedicated inverter connected into this. Therefore, the topology is more resilient to partial shading effects as compared to the central inverter. Now in this figure, you can see it's the same micro inverter, but we have so many modules. Every module has got one number of inverters also. So the inverters are here on AC side, they are connected together and given to the switch. That is the clarity in this particular one. Then we have the string inverter. In this case, you notice that 8 panels are connected in series, coming to around 96 volts, and that is given to the inverter. Here, modules are connected in series. The green wire is the ground wire. Now, the string inverter topology is more resilient to mismatch the central inverter because each string is independently operated at its MPP, thus guaranteeing a higher energy yield. String inverters are smaller than central inverters. However, the implementation is more complex than the module inverter. Also, the partial shading will be a great influence over the string inverter topology than over the micro inverter. Now, finally, multi-string inverter, the concept seeks to combine a higher energy yield of a string inverter with a lower cost of a central inverter. Now, in this, you can see here the inverter submodules also. Inverter submodules also you can see in this particular case. But each string is a P-powered process using that means each string itself is a consuming little power on that. So when you have so many number in series, the consumption of the internal consumption increases. Thus each string has its own MPP tracking implemented along the side of a DC to DC converters. All the converters are connected via DC bus to the inverter and ultimately to the grid. Within a certain power range, only a new string with a dedicated DC to DC converter has to be included to expand the system size. We now have an overview about the solar inverters. Now you can see there's a comparison between the string inverter and the, of course, the choice of your topology for implementation would depend entirely on the system capacity. But in general, while choosing an inverter for your PV system, what are the requirements of a good inverter? There are several characteristics expected from a good inverter. Now, inverter efficiency is the most important. As every power processing expends power itself, the solar inverters are expected to as efficient as possible. This is because we wish to deliver maximum PV generated to the load or the grid. Typical efficiencies are in the range of more than 95% at rated conditions. Depending on the topology, it is expected that the inverter have a built-in MPP trackers. Grid-tied inverters are expected to have active islanding detection capacity. Now, what is islanding and what is the anti-islanding? Islanding refers to the situation in which the inverter in a grid-tied setup continues to power the system even though power from the grid operator has restricted to the safety issues. Islanding needs to be prevented. Therefore, inverters are expected to detect and respond immediately from introducing power into the grid. This is also referred to as anti-islanding since a lot of situations the solar inverters are exposed to ambient conditions. They must comply with the temperature, humidity conditions of the local one. In this, you can see the grid tied power is pumped. They are expected to maintain a very high quality as to not corrupt the power flow. These inverters are expected to have a very harmonics on the line converters. In the diagram, you can have a look at it. The red line is the original fundamental wave, whereas you have a third harmonics and the fifth harmonics is coming over here. These two combinedly with the with the fundamental, the curve is shaped like this. That is a harmonic one. This is a distorted one. The distorted curve, because of this, a third harmonic and fifth harmonic will create problems in the power systems. So our aim is to eliminate that. Also has to be taken care by the inverter. Now, quality of the power, if you see, engineers are working to increase the life of the inverter. The crucial power of electronic device in the modern is that is an advantage stage. Now, one thing is the quality wise, you can say if you are able to improve the quality of these all the components, the way in which you have soldered, the way in which they have fitted, the way in which the system is processed in this particular line, the quality will improve. So the life of the components as well as the system will improve, which is a very much required for us. Now you can see the life of the span of the systems, lifespan of the system. System means a total. In this, the lifespan of PV modules, we always quote around 25 years. Life of the inverter is around 12 years. Life of the span of the lifespan of the batteries is unfortunately is about 5 to 6. So in case we want to get a longer life for all the components together, that selection design has to be done properly so that we have a longer life for the entire system without any breakdown on that. So now you know what an inverter is, what it does, and how it can be applied in different system topologies. Thank you very much for all of you for the patient listening. We'll again meet in another program.